Hello everyone, back to you in today's video. We're going to have another look at the final week of November. Some very interesting patterns emerging, but it's still hard to pin it down what's going to happen for the final week of November. I've been doing videos about this for the last week or so now, and the pattern still isn't any clearer really, but the trends are still there that things are going to get colder as we go into the final week of November, with a blocking area of high pressure developing somewhere, but where that blocking area of high pressure sits will be important as to the kind of weather we end up with. Now, for a go on video, I want to talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlaying my weather videos at GansWeatherBiz.com. Please pay us, as you'll be supporting GansWeatherBiz.com by doing that. So we'll start off with the Arctic Oscillation observed and forecast chart. So this black line here is telling us where the Arctic Oscillation has been right way back to July. The Arctic Oscillation, of course, is telling us what kind of pressure pattern we've got over the North Pole, over the Arctic. When the Arctic Oscillation is positive, then that's telling us that we've got low pressure really over the pole. When the Arctic Oscillation is negative, that's telling us that we've got blocking high pressure over the pole. We can see that for much of the last few weeks, certainly since October, that Arctic Oscillation has been very, very negative indeed, and it went extremely negative, down to -3 there as we got through to the middle of October. But as we got into November, that Arctic Oscillation has picked up, telling us that low pressure has come back over the pole. We've lost the blocking, and that's the reason it's turned milder, by the way. We've had a fairly mild week or two now through November. That's because we got low pressure developing over the Arctic, we lost the blocking high pressure, and we developed a mid-latitude high pressure and increased the westerly winds through the Atlantic, bringing milder air in. We have blocking over the North Pole. That allows for cold air to bleed out of the pole and push down into the mid-latitudes. But when you have low pressure over the pole, that keeps, or generally keeps, the cold air locked in over the pole, and we increase the zone of westerly winds through the mid-latitude. So we've been positive with that Arctic Oscillation in the last few weeks, but this red line here is telling us where the Arctic Oscillation is forecast to go. We can see that we're going to have a dip in the Arctic Oscillation, most definitely. But as we get through to the last week or so of November, we get this scatter here, but the general trend is to take that Arctic Oscillation back towards negative. So this is telling us that blocking is forecast to come back over the pole as we go through towards the last week of November. Now, I've got a lot of scatter here with this, so there are some members of the ensemble that keep the Arctic Oscillation largely positive, but they're in the minority. The majority of members actually take, members of the ensemble actually take that Arctic Oscillation back towards negative, and that tells us, of course, that we are looking at the chance of blocking coming back. It's the same idea with the North Atlantic Oscillation observed and forecast chart. Again, black lines telling us where we've been. We've been very negative through October, very negative North Atlantic Oscillation, or at least the second half of October was the case. But through November, that North Atlantic Oscillation has picked up. It's gone positive. Again, that's in association with the Arctic Oscillation. So, as I explained, we had low pressure coming back over the pole, taking the Arctic Oscillation positive. At the same time, that increased low pressure around Iceland. It increased high pressure through the mid-latitudes from the Azores, and increased the zone of westerly winds through the Atlantic. As a result, the Atlantic Oscillation went positive. Remember, these indexes are just a reflection of the weather. They aren't driving the weather. This is just telling us what the weather is doing, really, but it isn't a driver of weather. This is just an index that tells us the state of the atmosphere. The atmosphere itself is driving these indexes. So at the moment, the North Atlantic Oscillation is positive, not extremely positive, but it is a positive North Atlantic Oscillation. Again, the red line is dipping down. This is the forecast again. This red line here, or these red lines, are the forecast of the North Atlantic Oscillation dipping back in towards negative territory as we get through to that final week of November. So again, this is telling us that we're likely to be seeing blocking developing at northern latitudes. We're likely to be seeing low pressure tracking southwards through the Atlantic. So where we have the Azores high, the mid-latitude high, when the North Atlantic Oscillation is positive, when it goes negative, we're likely to be seeing a low pressure tracking through those mid-latitudes. So again, the Arctic Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation, both pointing in the same direction, which is to go negative for the final week of November. So this is this morning's GFS chart. This is for Friday the 23rd of November, 192 hours away. We can see we've got this low pressure here to the north of Scotland. Notice we're digging the jet stream well southwards into the Atlantic. That's already starting to show signs of the North Atlantic going negative then. So as we run through the charts, what we're going to see is that the low pressure pushes through. We turn the winds around to the northwest temporarily. This will be giving us a colder field thing by the time we get through Saturday the 24th. So now we're into about last week of November. Then we build this ridge of high pressure in from the southwest. And where does that high pressure go? It actually starts to ridge up towards Scandinavia. So we're developing quite a block there from the Atlantic through Britain into Scandinavia, stretching back in towards the west of Russia. There's cold air underneath that block of high pressure as well. And high pressure really dominates as we go through to Tuesday the 22nd. So we're well into the last week of November now. This will be cold, perhaps not particularly cold upper air temperatures, but it will be cold on the surface. There'll be quite a lot of frost and fog with this. And as we go right to the very extreme end of the run, this is 348 hours away, so it's a long time out, but we take that high pressure back into the Atlantic and pull down this very cold northerly wind, and that really would be a blast of really cold air if that came off. And again, the general idea is for blocking to be developing through the northern part of the Atlantic, and the North Atlantic Oscillation itself would be going negative as low pressure begins to form here around the Azores and tracking more southward through the Atlantic. And notice the jet stream also is digging well south through the continent. Again, this is just variations of the theme, really. We can't say that this is definitely how things are panning out, but certainly the variations of the theme are to continue to point towards a colder end to November. This is this morning's ECMWF run. Again, the low pressure coming through the Atlantic in a week's time, Thursday, the 23rd Thursday, the 22nd of November, by the way. Then that low pressure digs southwards in towards Spain and Portugal as we go in towards Friday, the 23rd. Again, we're just looking at this for patterns, really. This isn't how things are definitely going to work out, but by the time you get through to next weekend, Saturday the 24th and Sunday the 25th, we're seeing that low pressure digging southwards, high pressure developing in the Atlantic, again showing signs of ridging towards Scandinavia, pulling the winds in from the east. Not a very cold easterly wind, but certainly colder than we've been used to. And as we go through towards the GEM, finally the Canadian model, again the low pressure is there in the Atlantic for Friday the 23rd. It does look like being a very unsettled week next week, by the way, with quite a lot of heavy rain coming along. And as we go through to Sunday the 25th, that low pressure again is deepening, very deep area of low pressure, stalling in the Atlantic, sending possibly some warm air advection up in towards the Greenland area, which may well inflate high pressure again round Iceland and through in towards Scandinavia. So everything really this morning again, all the trends really pointing towards a colder end to November. Final 5 days or so of November, it does look as though the patterns are going to start getting into a much colder sort of situation. How cold it gets, and obviously whether there's any snow, very open to question at the moment. We're going to have to wait until much closer to the time, but the patterns are still there. The suggestion is still there that we're looking at colder weather for the final week of November. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.